Imagine seeing the face of your loved one who's passed on another person. Face transplants are still pretty uncommon in the medical world, but they are becoming more frequent. And an Australian woman is now sharing what it felt like when doctors asked her to donate her brother's face, tongue, and teeth to a complete stranger whose face had been destroyed from a gunshot wound. This is a photo of Rebecca Aversano with her brother Joshua, who died after he was hit by a car. And she said she barely had started grieving his death when medics suggested that her brother's features be donated. And she said it was really offensive at first. She, thought, I've just lost my brother and now you're asking to take his face too. But after a lot of thought, Rebecca's family agreed to donate her brother's face. And this is her brother here when he was younger. And they agreed to donate it to Richard Norris. Richard Norris was injured with a gunshot, basically injured his face. And Rebecca is also talking about getting to meet Richard for the first time after, he has now had her brother's face transplanted onto his own face. This is a photo of Richard after his accident and what he looked like before. As you can see, it was devastating for him and his family. He didn't have his jaw, he had only part of his tongue, he didn't have his teeth. And he would oftentimes leave his house with his face covered. He fell into a depression, even had thoughts of suicide because people would just stare at him everywhere he went. But this is him later, today, after the face transplant. The surgery took place in 2012, and he sees it as a miracle because not only did Joshua and Richard have the same blood type, which was necessary, but they also had almost the same facial structure and skin tone. This is a picture of Joshua when he was younger and Richard today with Joshua's face. Rebecca and Richard just met for the first time. And Rebecca said seeing his lips, his nose, his eyebrows, it was the face she grew up with. And she said it was almost like her brother was still there in a way. So as you can imagine, it was a very emotional meeting for both of them. But incredible story, and incredible to also see what our medical community is able to do today for people who are suffering with things like Richard.
Wow. I am truly speechless because when we first heard about this story, we were apprehensive, thinking, how could this be possible? And then to watch that moment when they see each other for the first time, that's breathtaking.
It's hard to put yourself even in the context of that. Pretty amazing. Thank you, Nicole. Well,